Eastern Illinois head coach Chris Wilkerson. The Panthers now 3-1 overall, 3-0 against FCS teams after a 31-28 win over McNeese on Saturday. They'll be on the road. They're going to face another Southland team in Northwestern State. Coach's thoughts on your team, and then we'll go to some questions.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. Certainly proud of the guys' effort last week. Didn't start very well. The first half was not very good football. We didn't tackle very well on defense and bogged down in the red zone and some penalties on offense, and got the quarterback sacked. And so, hey, it was a heck of a drive right at the end of the second quarter, and kind of got it to 2 scores. We came in and had a chance to rally the troops and just talk to them about, hey, let's go back out here. We get the football first. Let's do whatever we got to do to get to a 1-score game and see where the chips fall. And the guys responded very well. Great job of hanging in there, holding on to the rope, as we say, and continue to have some players step up. So MJ Flowers certainly did a nice job in the backfield. Stone Galloway being ready for his first kick of the year and certainly making a long one there at the end of the game. But, the offensive line, tight ends, and wide receivers did a good job blocking all day. And our quarterback continues to impress us and improve every single day with his ability just to be able to do some things that some people don't see. And that's just the biggest thing, taking care of the football. They played us a little bit differently, and he still made sure that, hey, worst case scenario, it was an incompletion or it was a short check down, and we dropped a fair amount of explosive plays, but proud of their effort. Certainly the defense rallying in the second half, tackled much better and made some adjustments, Coach Bignell and his staff, but a lot of things to clean up, and excited about the opportunity to play on the road against a much better than their record Northwestern State team out of the Southland Conference.
Thanks, Coach. We'll go to some questions. Dan, as many as you got, fire away.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to ask you about specific injuries, but knowing that you're going on the road somewhere where it's probably going to be hot and humid, how much does that factor in, being limited, how many guys you can take, who you choose to take?
Sure. Well, the OVC, Big South OVC right now actually doesn't put a cap, but because we are flying day of, there'll be a limitation in terms of the number of players that we'll take. I believe that we'll take 72 guys right now. There are some guys that are questionable for this weekend. Still remains to be seen if they make it back. Our athletic training staff has done a phenomenal job trying to get guys that are available ready. And, our strength conditioning staff does everything they can to try to make sure we're as prepared as possible. But there's no question that's one of the challenges this week is that, we've got to try to win the trip, if you will. We're going to fly down day of. It's expected to be in the low 90s, and the humidity will be very different than it is here in Charleston down there. Play at 6:00, and hey, the guys understand what we're in for. And so we talked about that. Preparation started on Sunday, making sure that they hydrate themselves and take care of their bodies and putting calories in. So, again, just excited about the chance to go on the road and play against a quality opponent.
I'm going to be talking to Jacob Horvath tomorrow, and he's kind of a remarkable story, as you well know. So just give me some thoughts on Jacob and what, not just what he's meant to the team, but his adapting here to a whole new environment.
Yeah, there's no question. It is a great story, and like I said early in the season, my wife's originally from Brisbane, Australia, and Coach Derrickson, our special teams coordinator, started the recruiting process with Johnny Prokick, and the irony is that we played, I think 3 out of the 4 opponents that we played so far have had Australian punters as well. And so it's those guys have certainly gotten more and more recognition nationally. He has come in and adjusted very, very well. He's continued to make friends and build relationships. He's acclimated well to school, and certainly acclimated very well to gridiron football, if you will. And it was nice this week. His dad was able to surprise him. We knew he was coming in town, and so he flew, it's about 15, 16 hours, and he was able to get into Champaign on Friday night, and Saturday morning he was able to come over and see Jacob right before we started the warm-up process. So at least he didn't have to look up into the stands and all of a sudden see, wow, there's my dad. And he'll be here for, I think, 3 games, 2 at home and the one on the road this week. And then that's actually the end of the trip is kind of around Jacob's birthday. So he's a great young man. He's got a very bright future, comes from a great family, and we're excited to have him as part of our family.
I got one more thing to ask you about, and then I'll turn it over to Kyle. But I'm working on a story about the scout team, and I talked to Coach Nick Hill down at Southern about this yesterday. I think so many people don't realize the importance of the scout team. So, I know you guys give weekly awards. Just give me all your thoughts that you have.
Absolutely. So they are as big a part of what we do as a team as any one of our starters. The guys that have to simulate the opponents every single week, and at some point, whether we have great depth at a position or whether you're younger or you're just paying your dues kind of thing, it's kind of part of the process. And it is as important as any one of our starters. Those guys' ability to give us a quality look, help prepare our offense and defense and special teams every single week. They are very, very valued members of our football family. And they bust their tails. And, in addition to the practices that they're already going through during the course of the week, they're getting an extra lift in every Friday, the developmental lift that we call it. They're putting as much time, if not more, in trying to sharpen their skills and help us as a football team. And so they're very valued. Those guys sometimes don't get a ton of breaks during practice where, if you're a scout guy on, let's just say the defensive line right now, we're a little bit thin, you may be taking the whole 25 plays in one of our team periods. And if you're lucky, you might get a play or two off, where our offensive guys typically will go 5 or 6 plays and then take 4 or 5 plays off, and then go 5 or 6 plays and take 4 or 5 plays off. So those guys are tough as a boot. And, we're proud to have them as part of our program.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You referenced Stone earlier, and he didn't attempt until the end. Was that the plan? Like maybe not use him or save him for the right spot in a game?
It really was, and as he had, had the injury against Indiana State, we knew he was out for the next game. There was some speculation that physically he might be close enough the third game to potentially be available in an emergency situation, but the warm-up didn't go real well until we shut him down and knew that we weren't going to do anything. Last week, about middle of the week, we kind of had that same thought process, and our athletic training staff did a phenomenal job letting us know, hey, the warm-up went really well, and we think he's going to be available for an emergency kick if needed. And Julian has done a great job stepping in and handling the place kicking duties and extra points. And he just might not quite have the distance that Stone does. And so we knew, based on the situation where we were at the end of the game, Stone had warmed up before the game and he had hit from just inside of 60. And so we knew it was right there within his range, and he was ready to go. And when his number was called, and got just enough on it. So it's 56 yards. It would have been good for maybe 57, but that's about it.
And you referenced the quarterback and how he's improving. How does Flowers help that too? Like his emergence the last couple of games and the run game opening up what you want to do passing?
Oh, it helps a ton. And we knew last week, one of the things that we talked about was being able to run the football more efficiently than we had. And I still say, as a coach, it's our job to give the guys a chance and take what the defense gives us. So, if they're going to play us in a 3-man front and they're going to drop 8 and they're going to be, just kind of a read and react and try to fit you up, you got to be able to run the football a little bit better than what we had. If they're going to overwhelm you in there, certainly you got to be able to, throw it and go where they're not. But it helps a lot. We'd like to be as balanced as possible, but every week it's going to be about trying to take what they give us.
And then last question I have, just on a little bit more Northwestern State. What have you exactly seen from them? You said they've played some really tough opponents this year. What do they do well?
Oh, yeah. The coach has done a phenomenal job down there. They've got talent. Again, the quarterback situation right now, it looked like their starting quarterback got banged up in the third quarter. And then their backup quarterback finished the game. But both very talented players. They had a bye week last week, so I'm sure they're going to be rested, and they've gotten a head start on us. But they've got great skill on the perimeter, length and athleticism. Their tight end is one of the better tight ends in FCS football. He's 6'7". Their offensive line is very well coached and extremely aggressive. And the biggest thing, they got 3 or 4 quality running backs. All the guys can catch the ball out of the backfield, can block the blitz, and certainly make plays when they just hand them the football. And then on defense, they have changed, just a little bit. Last year, they were a little more 3-down spacing. They've certainly, at least early in the season, been more 4-down spacing, but they're very active and physical up front. Their inside linebackers run and hit like nobody's business, and they've got great length and athleticism in the secondary. So they present a ton of challenges. Again, we're going to have to make sure that we continue to improve and play some of our best football to give ourselves a chance.
Dan, you have anything else?
Just one more quick one. So will both Stone and Julian be making the trip?
They will. Yeah, both will be on the trip right now. And again, it remains to be seen. We'll have to see how the trainers feel about Stone this week. I would kind of expect today Julian to handle point after touchdowns and and our short field goal attempts, and Stone to be available again on a more limited basis as we sit here today.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Coach, appreciate your time. Best of luck this weekend. We'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Thanks a million. Go Panthers.